do a quick sound test. Check that all is well. Yep, looks like all is indeed well. Right, it looks like I'm streaming fairly consistently as well, so I guess we can get on with it. Just going to post a bit to social media, or get someone I know to do it. Okay, so just a quick go over what has happened recently before I actually get stuck in. Okay, so the more observant of you will notice that I'm in a different room than I'm normally in. And this is quite simple because I've moved house. Last week was quite stressful. The week before was also stressful as we were trying to get stuff together for it. I actually owe the game a couple of days, so I'm hoping to put time in over the weekend. But yes, it's been a busy time for me. That doesn't mean I haven't been working on the game. I've just had it just a little bit less whilst I moved house. I'm sure anyone that's ever moved house will appreciate how difficult that can be. But either way, we're here in the new house. The internet's fine. It's set up and it's clearly good enough for streaming. So that's positive. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about what the others have been up to as well before I get going. So Liam has spent his time recently working on the AI. I think he's called it the Hive bot, but it's the bot AI. So it's an AI that will be another colony. Just looking at some of his recent commits, I can tell you that he's laid the foundations. He's added functions for them to be able to work out hexes based on an XY location. They can construct and dig hexagonal shaped rooms. So yeah, the AI is shaping up. The AI is still a way off, and it's not going to be a recent thing because we want it to be good. But that's in the works, and Liam's working on that in the background. Now Matt has been something we discovered recently is there was a change in Unreal Engine, which meant that the way that we were putting levels together, specifically the way we were painting the levels, so the way we were painting the sand on, for example, with different patches of different types of sound, wasn't going to work anymore. So Matt he took another approach to it, and he's been working on a plugin for the engine, which allows him to paint similarly to how he used to paint onto it, and he thinks that's going to speed him up once it's done, so it'll be better than the old system. But a side effect of it is it's caused a big performance boost, because essentially before we had all these hundreds of tiles on the surface. What the new system does is it turns that grid of tiles into one solid object, so the game, because the tiles never change height or anything. When you're ready to, you can turn that into one solid object, and it actually caused a large performance boost. So rather than hundreds and thousands of these individual tiles on the surface, there's just you turn it into this one solid object, and it's a lot easier for the game engine to handle. So yeah, there's been performance boosts there. So that's what the other two have been working on. My most recent commits have been crash fixes. What's that? Just various Freeplay updates. So the spiders now don't stand on a single spot. They will spread out a bit. Because spiders don't wander around, they stay still. But they will now do so spread out and such. So today I'm going to be working on a few aspects of Freeplay. I've got a list. I'm not currently working full time on the game. By the way, I'm still working my notice period. By the end of this month, I will be working full time on the game. So things can speed up at that point. Okay, so I've got a few things I do need to do today. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure which ones I'll take on, but I do want to do some of the just general map editing. So the putting the food and underground enemies in the Freeplay undergrounds, that sort of stuff, that basic stuff. There's some things that I need to do, such as fix the cheats, because there's cheats built in that allow me to test things quickly, and they broke during a recent change. So I need to go through those and see if I can fix them again. Sandwood answer. There's a couple of things with the landmark system that I want to look at, but I don't think I'll get onto those today, and some of them are actually things that our artist needs to look at, such as despawning of them. Yeah, I've added in food spoiling, by the way, so congratulations on moving. Been patiently waiting for the update. Thanks for being patient. Really appreciate it. I'm sorry it's been quiet for the past couple of weeks. So yeah, resource spoiling has been added in. So all that is in Freeplay mode, when a creature dies, if it's not harvested after 3 minutes, it despawns. And it's because in Freeplay mode, the creatures are all attacking each other on the surface. So I actually think I'm just going to start with something simple. So today I'll just be putting in. Oh no, I can't. There's actually the map. I can't edit the map, so I can't do that. Okay, so in that case, let's have a look at difficulty. Yeah, I'm going to do some difficulty balancing, I think. Yeah. So we'll start with just playing around with difficulty balancing. I can't actually edit the map, so let's. So at the minute, this map's just got a random noise applied to it. Like the textures are just random noises at the minute. And if I play, hopefully everything won't crash. It does take a while for it to start up a Freeplay map because it's got to set up all the landmarks and all sorts. Just give it a moment. Okay. Yeah, there's some issues with lighting on the poppy at the moment. I need to, as I go through, I need to note all these issues down because I'd like just a definitive list of what needs to be finished to get Freeplay out. So let's jot some of these issues down as I go. Okay, so the poppy plant lighting. Freeplay issues. Awesome. This is the best RTS I played since Age of Empires. Oh, thanks very much. I'm glad we can. I'm glad we're that high in your opinions. What other kinds of creatures will be implemented? What other kinds of creatures that will be implemented as a good resource? I mean, if you're just talking about creatures to eat, the wood lice. I mean, they take a little killing, but they don't fight back, so they're good to kill. What's already implemented? The beach tiger beetles. They give you a lot of resources, but they're quite deadly. As you can see, this one's murdering wood lice here. What this is what I believe this is a infestation landmark. Now, an infestation landmark constantly spawns creatures of a certain type. Now, it's because it's chosen wood lice, they're not going to be much of a challenge. So one tiger beetle is going to murder all of those. The poppy plants just they blow in the wind and spill poppy seeds. It's random chance when they spill poppy seeds. I actually think I want the poppy seeds to despawn after a while. So I'm gonna jot that one down as well. Okay, hi everyone. Lots of people have joined the stream now. Mike is in the chat. Harmonic Clone. He'll be here to answer questions as well as me. I'll pick up on questions every now and again, but I do need to concentrate on developing some periods of the time. This is a closed tunnel exit, so that's obviously we haven't painted the map properly yet. It's just randomly painted, so when that's painted, that'll blend in better. But that's what that is. It's a tunnel exit where there's no one underneath. There's a funnel web. It looks like the funnel web spider has managed to kill a beach tiger beetle. That would be impressive to actually see. Although I implemented in creatures ignoring each other as well, so the funnel web should actually ignore the large creatures. They shouldn't attack them, I think. This looks like it's another infestation point where this devil's coach horse adults just having a field day murdering all the wood lice. Wood lice are really not having a good time in this. So this is a aphid farm. Landmark. This is a fish landmark, obviously. The fish landmarks spawn wood ants, and they will harvest it until it's gone. So you have to contend with the wood ants in order to harvest fish. Right, I mentioned a couple of things that I wanted to jot down, but I forgot them. Poppy seed lighting problem. Poppy plant lighting problem. Poppy plant lighting issue. I'll raise that one with Matt. Okay, so the surface tunnel exits colour is broken. There's been quite a few internal changes of how the other colonies work in order for us to get the player's colony being able to go into different undergrounds. And a lot of these changes have actually broken little bits that we need to fix. So yeah, the surface tunnel minimap color. I'll come to chat in a second. Broken. Okay, so reading some chat. Tons of food already. Yes, they do. Wait. This is the Ant game, right? I can't remember directly. Yes, it's the Ant game. Nice game. Make it multiplayer. With multiplayer, we say what we always say, which is we're not saying no to it. We're just saying not yet. We've got other priorities at the moment. We'd love to do multiplayer, but we've just got to see see if we have time to do it. I watched a Let's Play a few weeks ago and was very impressed. Oh, very good. Yeah, quite a few people have been doing Let's Plays of it. And we're very thankful to streamers. I know there's been a lot of difficulties going on with streamers and YouTube, like demonetizing things, which is really upsetting because streamers are they've pretty much made this game. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to get the word out about the game. So we very much love people streaming the game. So I'm trying to play levels available and harvested was freaking hard. Yeah, the difficulties are hard. Right, so just whizzing through. John, why have you introduced sugar lumps? Right, the sugar lumps that are around the map are actually swarm points. So what you'll notice, for example, is this is a swarm point for the hermit crabs. And if I have a look at it in the code, so this is all the stats that this swarm point has. So swarm creatures. So there it's got all the hermit crabs that belong to that swarm point on it. It does nothing, so that swarm point just stays still, it doesn't move. It's got things like attacking the enemy colonies and whatnot, but it does nothing, so that one doesn't need to worry about that. If I have a look at some of the other swarm points, this one looks like it's got no creatures at the minute. Oh no, it does have creatures. It's a woodlouse swarm point, apparently. Right, but the wood lice for the swarm point are these ones, and they're being murdered before they get there. So yeah, so swarm points are basically the point around which a group of creatures are hovering. The reason they're visible at the minute is for debugging purposes. I can and will hide them, but not yet. Not whilst I'm still developing the game or developing this. So even PvP, PvE, yeah. I think my personal feeling on it would be that I think PvP might be fun, but I'm not sure if there's stuff you could exploit in the game. So obviously PvP is a good thing, but I would love to do some PvE multiplayer. I think that would be my preference because I like cooperative games. I really do like them. We'll see. Maybe do like a holdout style level. I'm just dreaming now. Let's get back to the task at hand. Okay, so I can't edit the map as such at the moment, but I can edit some of the. What did I say I was going to do? Oh, so I was going to play about the difficulty, didn't I? Okay, so stop that. No errors. It's always good when you don't get errors. Okay, so this is all controlled. Those that haven't been following the streams, for those who haven't been following the streams, there's this Freeplay director. And there's one in the level, and it just sits there. It's nothing particularly exciting there. But this essentially has the code that sets up and runs Freeplay. So here's the stuff about the day-night cycles. Obviously, in Freeplay there's lots of different settings. So there's different things here, like there's the difficulty, and if it's set to ramp, it ramps up difficulty. If it's set to spikes, it changes the difficulty every now and again. So this is where the magic happens. If it in the kind of free play setup I'm running. See that the controller support is an interesting one. See, I would love to bring the game to consoles as well. And it's something we have talked about internally, just kind of floating the idea. How do you see controlling a game like this on a control pad? Because I used to play Red Alert on PlayStation 1. You got Red Alert 3. And we actually used to play it multiplayer because you could network the PlayStations with this cable that went between them. And because of the way Red Alert worked, you had 2 discs, so you only needed 1 copy of Red Alert, 2 PlayStations, plug them together. And we used to set it up in the lounge, so there was a table with a telly on each side and a PlayStation. And you control it by one of the buttons jumped you to the build menu, and the other one jumped you into the world, and you just controlled the mouse with an up, down, left, right. Playing consoles, yeah, on easier modes, it's less micro-intensive, but on hard, on insane mode, you do need to be all over the place. You are right. That's not to say that people couldn't get good at it on a controller. I mean, you don't need to draw boxes around things in our game, for example. You just you can organise your groups and then move points quite quickly. It could work. Okay, so I was talking about playing with the difficulty. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this difficulty value. I'm just going to control it manually. So if I'm over here, I'm just going to check that this is actually receiving keyboard commands, because I'm not sure if it will be. If it doesn't, I can do it on the level itself. Whilst it's started auto-saving, so I'm going to need to turn auto-saving off. It's pointless at the minute because it's going to keep trying to save the level, the dunes, and I can't edit that because Matt's currently editing it. Let's see what people say. I play with my daughter, normal or hard only, never insane, and it would work very well with the controller, select unit groups, move around, dig, etc. But anyway, playing multiplayer on peer-to-peer would be horrible, in my opinion. And I tell you, I'd rather play with my 4-year-old daughter and see her enjoy it with me than pull my hair out on insane mode. Yeah, fair enough. Hope you'll have success and be able to afford some servers. Maybe one day. Yeah, I'm not sure how peer-to-peer, how well peer-to-peer would work in an RTS sense. I mean, it would work, but we'd have to be very efficient with it. We'd have to work out exactly what we wanted to send over the network carefully. Could it be possible to add advanced AI scripting to manage ant behavior, like in Screeps? Advanced AI scripting to manage ant behavior, like in Screeps. we try and we more on the RTS side of things than simulation side of things, I find. So I don't think we're going to go any more advanced with the ants. I mean, the ants have a lot of pathing and avoidance code put into them to make them spread out nicely when they're walking through a location. But I don't think we're gonna go more advanced in the ant AI. I think I like the level it's at the moment, the level the control the player has. One moment. Okay, so where were we? Where am I? Oh, I was checking whether key 0 is being recognised within the. Because it might not be. In fact, it probably won't be. All the controls are actually held in a separate object. No, I didn't think it would be. I just need some way of controlling the difficulty. I think I know how. I'll do it from the level blueprint. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to save this. I know this will work, so I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother testing. I need to get a reference to. Okay, so that's the Freeplay director there. Difficulty. It's difficulty type, difficulty value. Should be able to. Set it from outside. So I'm just setting up a test at the minute. I also need to stop the. I can't save this. Must remember that I can't save it. I'm going to stop the difficulty changing. I think I can do that just by breaking that. Yeah. So I've stopped all the code there that changes the difficulty. There, I've just made it print the difficulty constantly. Okay, so there's difficulty being printed. Repress 0, change it to 1. Okay, so let's finish setting up this test. So probably enough for now. Okay, so I'm going to go through the values. So 1.2. 1 is 100%, but the difficulty can actually go up to about 180% or to 200. I think you can get to 200 on certain settings. So 0.2. I've only got 5 to whiz through, so 0.2, 4. Let's do some bigger values. 0.8, 1.2, 1.6. Okay, so by difficulty 1.6, I expect the game to be really quite hard. And what I expect to see, 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, of course. Because there's a 0 one as well. 0.8. What I expect to see at the high difficulty is the game to essentially be constantly spawning large amounts of creatures that are dangerous. So I will just run it one more time just to check the difficulty values and are constantly attacking the player. Does Steam actually change things recently as well, where you can 0. Huh. The other num keys aren't. Huh. What's that? UGTAR. Oh, you know what this is? I know what this is. This is those keys are used. Damn it! Those keys are used for Yep. They're used for. That key's not used. They're used for the photo mode. What I'm gonna do. This will probably be easier. Is I'm going to have an increase and a decrease. Okay, so that should work. Okay, so back to chat. I prefer to see an actual game finished. Yeah. quotes. Is there going to be a beta test branch in Steam to test it out? We do actually have. So that increases it, that decreases it. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, so I don't need to print that anymore. I know that works. It starts on about 0.6. And we need to have a look at how the difficulty is affecting the game. You know what, I'm going to make it just print the difficulty when you so I do know what it just so we actually know what the difficulty is as we're changing it. I can't save it, annoyingly. Okay, so let's have a look. Right, when it comes up with unable to get a point, that is because there's someone trying to attack my queen. And it's basically trying to come in through the tunnel because I told the tunnel exits to be open. However, there's no path dug to the tunnel, so it's nothing to be concerned about. So Disco, you said you might put birds and other animals in the game. Would it be able to raid them and kill them as a food source and protect them from other insects? Put birds and other animals in the game. I think birds might be a bit big. We've got a dead fish in the game at the minute. So maybe it'd be a dead bird. It's not currently on the plan. Birds. There's definitely going to be other animals. Most of it's going to be insects, but there's going to be arachnids and things as well. Yeah, we will be doing a beta test for Freeplay mode before it goes live. See, the spiders now hang out a distance away from. God, that thing murders them quick. Right. There's difficulty value still being changed. Okay, so the difficulty is quite high at the minute. I need some workers. I'm going to put the player back in player slot 0. The minute I have them over here, have a quick look at the player pawns. Auto possessed by player disabled. Auto possessed by AI disabled. Okay, so I think I can just disable that and enable it on there. I think that should put me back in player 0, which should allow me to spawn the worker. That's something else that needs to happen. The emergency worker. Because if you run out of workers, an emergency one spawns, but that currently only happens on player 0, which you're not necessarily. Looks like some of the cheats are working actually, because that looks like it was a cheat. Yeah, the cheats are working for this player. Oh no, that was a free worker, wasn't it? Yeah. That's making that higher. That's making that lower. Okay, difficulty's really low at the minute, so should be easy. So there shouldn't be much spawning on the surface. Now I want to tweak it, so where do you work up? All players. Cheats work for all players. I'd love to see some way to upgrade the enemies, like giving them jelly or something as well. To also include difficulties. Perhaps if it does go in PvP mode, you could earn those enemies to use as a way of defending or something. Haven't really upgrade your enemies to make things harder. Yeah, it's a funny one, that one. So they would be similar, using good amount of colony to take down. Similar to it using a good amount of colony to take down. Bees. Okay, so there currently shouldn't be many enemies spawning. These tiger beetles have got this fish well defended. If you notice, there's barely any enemy ants spawning, and that's because the difficulty's so low. If I turn the difficulty up, enemy ants will start spawning. Same with the ladybirds. Very few ladybirds spawn when the difficulty's low. Right, I'm going to turn the difficulty up to roughly 1.6, and what I'm hoping will happen is I should start to see enemies quite rapidly attacking me. If I don't, I need to adjust things. Okay. So we're at 1.6 now. The game will be spawning enemies more frequently. The enemies that spawn will be more aggressive. The packs of enemies should be larger as well. I'll change the difficulty again. So immediately there's a lot more ladybirds. Looks like there's a lot more ants spawning there as well. Difficulty looks like it's dropped down to 1.4. 1.6. Right, the player is being attacked by something. Looks like it's these. Let's just delete that for now, because I don't want to die. That's cheating! Kill a spider, and it gives birth to live flooding nest. Spider babies. Okay, so on this all the stuff's been stripped pretty much. And there's quite a wood ant force there. Okay, it's my opinion that not enough enemies, not necessarily not enough enemies are spawning, but not enough enemies are attacking the player. It looks like another one did come to attack the player. But what is that? Oh, it's some more tiger beetles. big one actually, that one. Yeah, I think we need more loot cocoons. You must pay £50 to hatch this egg. Again, it's a beach tiger beetle. The reason it's tending to be beach tiger beetles that are attacking me, by the way, is that it's in the daytime at the minute. Which means, right, I'm going to check as well that wood lice and woodworms can't attack the player. So that's something that I've got down. Last thing I want is the player's nest to be invaded by woodworms. Just like free food. I think this is a yeah, that's a landmark. That's the infestation landmark. The bunker down ability seems to be triggering whilst they're still moving, so that's another thing that needs looking into. That's just a general one. Wood louse. Bunker down. Should stop movement. I wonder if that's the self-stun that's broken. Something's here. Woodworms. Yeah, so I need to stop woodworms being able to attack the player, because that's actually what's happened there. The reason no woodworms have got here, by the look of it, is that they're probably all being killed on their way over. Okay, I don't think the attacks are coming quick enough here. I don't know what your guys' opinions are. But this, at the moment, it's on 1.3, so it's dropped down. Something is still editing the difficulty. Turn it back up again. And the way these beach tiger beetles have just got this point completely defended. They're just murdering all these ants that are coming out. Passive beach tiger beetle has decided to attack the player. Right. Yeah. Its difficulty's dropped down again. Right, I'm going to stop the difficulty dropping because it's annoying me at the minute that it keeps doing that. Difficulty setup. So it'll be here that's doing it, because it's being set to random. But I've disabled that, so we should be good. Okay, so it's this pack spawning decision, spawn swarm. And it'll be due to the weighting of this. Side temperament. So this is it. So that's where the difficulty value is brought in. So basically, the difficulty value is divided by 2, and it uses that to... Right. So what's going on here is that the highest difficulty, when difficulty is 2, there is a 25% chance that it's an aggressive pack, which I don't think is high enough. Maybe it should be massively weighted the other way. I don't know where my calculator is. At the minute, I am living out of boxes. The house is full of boxes. And, it's auto-saving. Whenever I need to find something, it takes me half an hour. I don't need my calculator. I can do this by hand, and now it's auto-saving. Okay, let's have a quick read. Seraphine Silverstream. Should type of beetles even be able to enter the nest? I don't think so. Probably not if you're talking realistically, because they're... But at the same time, we've got to give the player... We've got to have some sort of challenge here. I mean, if you want to play it more realistically, you can turn it into... You can turn passive. You can turn the game into passive mode, so you don't get attacked. Because, I mean, really, very few things that go into the nest. I mean, it'd be a terrible idea for most insects to enter an ant nest, but we do need to give some sort of challenge to the player. I don't think there will be a way to split ants outside of building different rooms. No, that's kind of a core mechanic, is that the room building's tied into your group design. So what do we think John needs to decorate the walls of his new office with? I'd like to put up some posters. I'll think about it. Placing the artwork might be an issue there. Use cell phone app calculator. Yeah. Yeah, I should probably do that. I don't need a calculator anyway to do this. What I want is, because it's just a percentage, so let's give it a 70% chance at the highest difficulty to be an aggressive pack. Now, aggressive packs are far more likely to attack the player. Doesn't mean they always do, but it means every minute or so when they make a decision, they're very likely to attack the player. So 70% there, so that gives us, 30% to play with the other ones, so maybe just an equal split between them. The others are, passive, neutral, defensive and aggressive. Neutral just means it has an equal chance to do everything. Passive means it's very low chance to attack the player. Defensive actually means it's got a high chance to hang around near food. So maybe I just give it 10 each. Actually, before I had, maybe it's very unlikely to be passive as well. Yeah. Okay, so I've upped it massively. So when I up the difficulty, I should see a lot more creatures attacking me. None of the starting creatures can attack the player, by the way, and I made this decision purposefully, so basically you don't get attacked immediately, you've got some sort of chance. tunnel north. Let's make it really... Okay, so I've put the difficulty right down to start with. We'll wait till I've tunneled out. And we'll see what happens. Should get myself a coffee. Perhaps you can include in that mode humidity changes that causes the food to decay faster over time. Yeah, it's something to consider. Thus we're forced to grab more food and come out. Yeah, I wanted to consider things like that. I mean, I have added a basic decay, but all it does is after a creature after 3 minutes, if it's not being picked up or harvested, it will die. It will despawn. That's something I need to change. That's 2 landmarks appearing on exactly the same spot. The likelihood of that should be really low, though, considering the... Well, it shouldn't actually happen. That's clearly a bug. Note that down. 2 landmarks. Landmarks on the same spot. And the beetle's going to win. Actually, they're both beetles, technically. Okay, I'm going to up the difficulty now. So, take it to 1.6 again. It seems to be my test area. And what I should notice now is I get attacked a lot more frequently. Not been yet. There we are, that's the first attack. What have we got? A swarm of aggressive 1 Devil's Coach Horse adult. Can be up to 3 of them, actually. Should we go find him? Where are you? Oh, it's already in combat with something, so that's never going to get to me. Oh, there's another one. It's another Devil's Coach Horse. Oh, it's Devil's Coach Horse. So it's the larvae. Although, because of the nature of the game, they might never get to me. They might just kill each other on the surface. This one looks like it's coming in. Hey. Okay, so clearly there's a lot more attacks coming in. I mean, it didn't happen instantly, but it's getting there. Yeah, there's quite a few. Okay, I think we've set it now to a state where it'll be some sort of challenge to the player. I think it's just going to need play testing. Unfortunately, we can't play test it yet. These will fight each other. So yeah, save my queen. So I actually think I'm just gonna that's the least interesting death animation I've ever seen. Okay. I don't think we're going to be able to balance that any more than that without just being able to playtest it, and we're not going to be able to playtest it until I can edit the map and put food in properly. A couple of things I did want to do, so fixing the cheats, for example, I might do that next. Let's reconnect the bits that I broke. Okay, so that's working again before I forget to do it. My ants are still in hibernation at the moment. Yes, yeah, it's still cold. It was actually snowing here earlier. It's like, I thought we finally got, because in the UK we've had quite a bit of snow recently. I think a lot of, like, Europe has. But I thought we were coming out of it, and then this morning there was just loads of snow on the ground. I wasn't expecting it at all. It's all melted now. To be fair, I think that might be the end of it. Okay. Yeah, this landmarks overlapping issue is not going to be a fun one to fix, so let's not do that yet. So, emergency worker working for all players and cheats working for all players. Let's work on those. Okay, so the emergency worker code currently only works for player 0. It's in level methods. What's this? This one hasn't been commented. That's just an update food totals thing. I bet these don't work for any players other than player 0 as well. Oh no, maybe. Maybe that works. Oh no, Conley ID 0. There we are. See, that won't work anymore. I've got to be careful as I go through it now, because I can't just assume everything's a player, because some of them are going to be bots at some point, and I make work for myself if I don't. don't sort this. Just need to keep a couple of plastic tubes. Oh, you're trying to catch a queen. To catch a queen. I'm gonna get myself a coffee. So whilst I'm doing that, I may as well shove the camera on the surface and you can watch it play for a bit. I need to stop certain creatures slowing down on the web as well. If there's any reason for a beach tiger beetle to be slowing down on a web. Right, we're going to get a coffee back in a minute. What's been going on? Hey. What's the funnel web been murdering? Oh, hang on. Looks like it's dead. You dead? Oh. That didn't go well for the funnel web. Okay. Okay, so I can't quite remember how to do this, so I'm going to find it in blueprints. Just looking for places where I call the interface. The controller interface. Right, so this will be an example of how to do it. Colony ID. Build and upgrade. Using, oh right, I see. So interesting. This looks like part of the colony AI. Let's find another one. Build all rooms. Yeah, that's all the colony AI stuff. Okay, hang on. Random player in game colony ID. This will be how to do it. Player array. What am I trying to do again? Ability creature reference. Ah, I do it. That's easy. That's a much easier way of doing it. So yeah, so where it says these colony IDs 0, deactivate Royal Guard by ID. Oh no, that doesn't work. Yeah, because that's a timer. This is actually quite complicated. These abilities are going to require some thought to do, but I'm going to have to write them down. Fix Royal Guard colony ID reference. It's just if it's a computer player and they use Royal Guard, I don't want it deactivating from player 0. I need to turn this autosave thing off. Hey there. Yeah, it's a dev stream. You get to see me confused and scratching my head for hours on end. And most of this stream is us watching Unreal autosave, or try and autosave a map it can't autosave. Yes, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the editor preferences and see if I can stop this autosave. Enable autosave. Oh, I can turn it off just for the map. See, that might be enough. That might be enough. Because everything else autosaves really quickly, it's just the map takes it flipping ages. Okay, so we need to worry about this later, because that one's going to be complicated. But it's not that I was here to do. It was something called it's the emergency worker. I'm not actually sure if it's called emergency worker. Maybe I'll just do a search for it in here. Spawn hero worker. Oh, this looks promising. It just runs the function spawn hero worker every 5 seconds. Ah, this one's messy. You can tell I didn't do this one. Game state. Get queen by. There we are. Queen by colony ID. There's the first reference that's wrong. I didn't make this, so I'm trying to figure it out. But you could have done them with some comments. So there's another one. Get worker by colony. Get workers by colony. Really, what I need this to do is do it for every player in the game. Could do is add an input in. No, I can't add an input in. Sorry, this is being run from a timer, and timers can't have inputs. Like I say, it just needs to do it for every colony in the game, everything in the game. So, for example, that gets a random one. rather than getting a random one, I just need to go through them all. Copy that, bring that into here. Okay, so rather than getting a random player, what we're going to do is we're going to get the players array. I'm not going to check its length. No, there's no need to check its length. Let's do a for each. Okay, so we're cycling through all the players in the game and we're getting their colony ID. Now I want to set this as a local variable. There. So when this starts, it's going to start going through this. Now, that's going to make it do it once for each player. You know what, that's fine, that can go there in this weird stack. However, I need to use current colony ID rather than colony ID 0 every time that's used. So let's find any reference to colony ID. It's a byte. Hopefully that won't cause an issue. Okay, this is going to be an issue. Because we can't just assume it's a player controller anymore. However, that does only seem to be being used to get a colony ID. So I should just be able to do that. Why did I decide to do that at that point? Bet I break this. I bet I just break whatever's going on here by not understanding it. Well, we will see. I can always roll back if I break it too badly. Oh, there's another one. come back to the chat in a moment. I want to get through this. Again, it's exactly the same thing by the look of it as the above one. Bet this crashes. Right, I think I've got them all. Bet this crashes. Bet this crashes. So Disco, do you have ants yourself? I don't. We don't have ants ourselves. Mike's thinking of catching some this year though. I think Matt's really the influence behind why we decided to make an ants RTS. Matt's interested he's always been interested in insects and spiders and things, and ants, and it was an idea we actually came up with during university. But we thought the Dungeon Keeper concept is such a nice concept that not much has been done with outside of just making Dungeon Keeper clones. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some good Dungeon Keeper clones and or similar things, other ones out there. Dungeons 3 is apparently really good. Wolf the Overworld's good. But we thought ants were a good fit for that kind of style of play. You know, subterranean, tunneling. Everything's got a mind of its own. So it's kind of a mix between Matt's interest in the topic and also a desire to do something with the Dungeon Keeper style of play. Okay, so let's see if this crashes. I'm going to put myself in a different colony. I don't need to do this. I need to fly over there manually. So I'm currently in this colony. Player 0. So if I turn me off there and turn me on here. It's gonna no. Okay, so everything's saved. So if this does crash, we're fine. We haven't lost anything. Hey John, amazing to catch your streaming again. I've got a I'm not going to be able to pronounce this right. Camponotus ligniperda colony that's slowly coming out of hibernation until the end of the month. Hibernating's an interesting one. Maybe one day we'll have it seems to have spawned a couple of free hero workers. Maybe one day we'll have seasons in this. Maybe. I don't see any free worker. It's constantly telling me the one spawned. Ah. Right, so at the moment it's spawning. It's doing checks on the other colonies to see if they need free hero workers and then giving them to player 0. So that's not what we want. So where is it that actually spawns it? Because this doesn't actually spawn it. Oh no, spawn and incubate egg. There we are. Target is nursery representation. How does it decide? Queen chamber. Ant keeping's fascinating. I think ants are fascinating. Watching them do. I mean, it's like, why would you watch a documentary about ants? It's the same reason why you keep them, because you're interested in them. They're interesting creatures. The way they build a society and operate almost as like an entity. The colony is almost a creature itself. So here we're getting a random queen tile from queen chamber. There's store queen chamber. Interesting. Okay, so the spawn hero worker runs this function called store queen chamber. Now in store queen chamber we haven't I'm going to give an input. Star store. Then rather than yeah, that looks good. Okay, so now we need to pass in the right colony ID. Maybe that'll work now. Maybe that's all we needed to do. I'm just going to make sure there's no other calls to colony ID here. Doesn't look like it. Okay, let's run. Maybe this will work. I'm convinced that Mikey let fire ants kill off his colony on purpose to free the terrarium. Oh yeah, he had all those ant war things on recently, didn't he? Right. Okay, so this looks promising. It's a wood ant queen. Look, it's a wood ant with a... So I'm guessing each colony under here now has Interesting. Maybe it has worked. So the other colonies don't have them because they haven't got a player. But if I move myself into one of the other colonies, let's give that a go. Yeah, the queen's not. It's another thing that I've got on my list of things to do. Currently, the player 0 queen is the one being set. I mean, the colony ID 0 queen is the one being set to what species it is. Okay, so now I should be given a hero worker. There it is. There's my hero worker. Come on. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, currently it should be the colony that I've selected would be the one with the queen spawns at, but actually it's just doing it for player 0. So that's one of the things I need to do shortly, actually. So I think I've done this. I think I've succeeded here. So emergency worker, work for all players. Yep, done. Cross that off. Cheats work for all players. I think some of the cheats are working, but not for all players. So if I look at the tile grid, so I'm in this tile grid at the minute, I believe. Tile grid 2. So I'm just gonna set the cheat, set one cheat to start with, and see what happens. So this guy, would it be possible to limit the movement of the queen on the grey patches? Some feel it's alive at least. I see what you mean, and I do agree with you that the queen does feel more like a building than a creature. I do think there's more we can do with her. Maybe if she, maybe she can move around a small amount or something, or just every now and again. We need to think about it. Okay, so it looks like the auto spawn eggs worked there. It takes me ages to run again. Yeah, so auto spawn eggs is working there. So let's try the next one, shall we? Instant mature eggs. So what this one should do is the eggs should be ready to hatch immediately. So it's difficult to say at the minute the actual speed of it. I always intended the games to last about 6 hours. But I haven't actually changed the rate of. Were they instantly mature? I didn't see. try and pay attention this time. But I haven't changed the rate that anything happens yet. My intention is to slow down the game, so digging, building. I've even considered like damage taking longer, so fights take longer to do. So instant mature eggs isn't working. Okay. But I haven't, like I say, I can't tweak those stats yet until we've got fully working Freeplay, because at that point we can play it, get a feel for how long it's actually going to take. I mean, Freeplay is not going to be, it's not going to end as such, but your colony will, hopefully the difficulty eventually will get you, but your colony will, I mean, you may get to a point where your colony's so big that you can't be destroyed anymore. I wanted to put events in for those sort of things. So like an event that spawned loads of enemies that attacked you for a sustained period of time. But events are something I'm thinking about later. I'm not doing it instantly. Okay, so instant mature eggs is not working. Sorry, distracted for a moment there. Yeah, you might need to think about the shooters, because they are very powerful when you get them in high numbers. We'll think about it. Plenty of balance to come. Right, give me a moment. I'm gonna have to go into the code for a bit. So what I'm looking for now is the point the instant mature eggs happen. I'm not quite sure where it is. It must be when the I think it's the tile that does it. Nursery tiles. Let's close some of these. Nursery tile. Nursery representation. Who is this? Okay. Okay, here is a reference to instant mature egg. Oh, it might not actually be broken. I've just thought, if I haven't got resources, the eggs won't hatch anyway. So I've turned on infinite resources there. Let's see if that works. I think this is going to be the first one that's actually broken. Does the player see the dugout patches on the sides at the start? Oh, you mean the caverns? You can't see them, no. But they're going to be filled with food and things, so there'll be a clue that they're there. I wanted to give the player in Freeplay a large amount of space to. Yeah, they're not hatching, are they? I don't have food. The infinite resources isn't working. Okay, so that's the first one that needs fixing. They'll be filled with food and creatures, so there's a lot of space for you to build your colony and plan. But these should be obvious because there should be food and creatures in them. Played sandbox and 200 shooters are enough to kill enemies faster than you can actually spawn them. Let's hope we don't get to the infinite spawning bug. So we don't get the infinite spawning bug. Oh yeah. Infinite spawns. Right, so I'm trying to think where infinite resources comes into play. I think it's on the point where it spends resources. Let's have a look. Chance. Don't think it'll be in here actually. It's probably in the code. I think it's in game state. Okay, so this essentially should be this that's doing it. I think I'm going to need to run some tests on this to see why it's broken. One sec. Okay, so basically saying if tile grid, player data, infinite resources is true, Huh. Get tile by colony ID. It seems to be doing the same thing twice. Don't know why it'd do that. So I should just be able to change that to TG for a start. That shouldn't change anything. Either way, I'll build that, see if that actually changes anything. Hello. Back for the newest dev rounds. Whoa, I'm pretty aqua. Yes, you are. If only Infinite was spelled correctly. Yeah. Sometimes a typo makes it so deep into the code that it remains there forever. These are things that players will never see. So spelling is less relevant. So what are we doing today? At the minute, I'm trying to fix a couple of things that have broken in a recent change. What I have been doing is I was toying around with the difficulty in Freeplay, but we've also we've got a list of things that need fixing. Yeah, I bet they do. But if they're going to dig into the code, they can accept some spelling mistakes. It's working on balance. Metal walling currently, for technical reasons, fixing stuff. Make that open. I think I'll stream until 4 today. So that's another 37 minutes. So at 4 we'll call it a day, and I'll do some of the more boring things. I mean, not to say that today's been the most exciting stream. I've ended up having to fix stuff at the back end. Still waiting for this to compile. Compile time. Popcorn. Is this popcorn? Is this a popcorn spectator sport? Come on, compile. It's because I haven't compiled it in a while, and I'm compiling it whilst the editor's open, so it'll be doing stuff for hot reload. It'll take a minute. It'll get there. I like watching streams of overall, I find the code really interesting. Maybe because I know a few web devs, but yeah, I think dev streams tend to be quite relaxing things compared to other streams. A lot of other streams are very high energy. Dev streams are quite mellow, particularly when you're waiting for it to compile. Okay, so once it's compiled, I'm going to give it another go. I don't expect that I'll have fixed it, although I currently can't see what's wrong with it. The code looks like it's alright in that area, but there must be something. Still compiling. Okay, I'm just going through. I'll bring up the code again because I'm just reading through it whilst it's compiling. Okay, so spend player resources updates the food totals. So it should be this line that does it. Maybe I can just do a test on the two elements of this line. I mean, I don't imagine player state will be null pointer. Maybe it is though. Maybe that's part of the issue. Why does it even need the player state for that? There's a load of commented out code here. Delete that. See, I can't see where player state's used here. Oh, we've got movement. We've succeeded. So maybe player state isn't used. Well, what I'll do... Looks like it was used, but it's been commented out. Oh, I remember. This'll be Matt's. Like, Matt's moved all of this stuff off the player state because it didn't make sense for it to actually be on the player state. So, we might actually find that that isn't necessary. Either way, I'm going to run it first. You fell down steps. Painful. Well, at least nothing's broken. Could be worse. Right. So, I mean, infinite resources. These should be hatching. EOTU level setup, infinite resources. Sorry, I left you on the code there whilst I opened the engine. Although I'm now back in the code. Tile grid players data, infinite resources. So apparently there's something on the tile grid called players data, but it might not be accessible from. Colony setup. Freeplay setup. Let me see if it's accessible. Huh. Queen's missing. How exciting. So we're going to go nip back into the code. I want to have a look at this player's data on the tile grid. Okay. What is it? Oh, it's tilegrid.h. I've got to check out. One sec. I'm just going to make this visible. My guess is that this player's data is actually not being set because it's looking for the infinite resources in player's data. It's not actually looking for it on the tile grid. So my guess is that's not being set. I'm actually going to close the engine wants to build it this time, because I think the hot reloads will be starting to mess up by now, particularly if I change the tile grid. So I'm going to do another build. This shouldn't take as long as before. Broke their ankle walking. No, it's not the hash timer. It's definitely something to do with this infinite resources. Variable. We'll get it. It's not No, I think it's because there's this thing called players data, which is where it's taking the value from. But my guess is that's no longer that's not being set. It will have been set somewhere in the past, but I don't know where. I don't remember where. I'm gonna have to have a hunt for it. Right. Okay, so build succeeded. One moment. You try to add a fixed value like 300 resources. I could give that a go, but I'm pretty sure the issue is that this infinite resource value is just not being set in the player's data. I just can't remember where it gets set. It's going to be probably somewhere at the start of the level that it gets set. Let's see if I can find it. So it'll have found what it needs to find. Ooh, free hatch. Maybe that's what it's to do with. I don't know. I'm going to do a search for this infinite resources. Just to see where else it comes up. Right, okay. We're back on. Stupid thing. One moment. Because I've closed and opened the engine, it's got stream the OBS has got confused. Okay. Right. Can't see where I get set. So that's my issue here. I can't actually see where this infinite resources gets set. The only reference I can find to it is it being set to false. Anyway, I think now I should be able to see the data. Oh great, that's really useful really useful information there. Yeah, nothing in player's data is visible in the blueprints, so never mind. Okay, so my guess is the infinite resources there is never being set to true. I mean, are the hatching of eggs? Trying to figure out is the hatching of eggs like the auto spawn eggs? finding all references to auto spawn eggs, because that's gotta be set in a similar way. Hang on, let me just bring Visual Studio back for you. Okay, so right, I think there's been some confusion here. Right, so auto spawn eggs is using it directly from the tile grid. It's just looking at the tile grid and saying this player's auto spawn eggs are set to true or false. So that's why that one's working. However, the other one is not using it directly from the tile grid. I don't think there's a problem with me using it directly from the tile grid. If I do that, I've got to remember that I've done it. So change cheats to work directly from tile grid. But once I've done that, I need to remember that I need to remove cheats from player data. So this will fix it. I have no doubt this will fix it. So game state on spend resources. So where it was looking for the cheats, ignore player state. I don't think that's used. So let's just get rid of that. Once I do that, it should come up with a few errors. I should be checking here that tile grid's not a null pointer, else that could cause a crash. So rather than looking in player data, we're just going to look directly in tile grid. I say I'm pretty sure that's not needed anymore. This looks like, just checking what this is before I delete it. Looks like an old way of doing it. Okay. So now, this should just use the direct value from the tile grid. It clearly was using player data before, and this changed because recently a lot of the values were moved onto the tile grid. Sorry, I haven't been looking at chat because I've gone down this rabbit hole. Okay, what I'm doing at the minute is I'm trying to fix cheats, which sounds like a weird thing to do, but cheats are actually very important for testing. And at the minute, infinite resources wasn't working, wasn't working, and we discovered it's because it was being used from an area that it was never being set from. And the reason that was happening is because recent changes to the internal workings of the game have meant that this value for infinite resources has moved location, and some wires have been crossed along the way. But we're nearly there. We're very nearly there with it. That took way longer than it should have done. I think we've been on this for like half an hour. Funny the things you get stuck on. Does big head mode just turn all the ants into... Fedor. Big head mode. Write that down. How are we doing? Still building. Right, let's jump back over into the editor. Compile time, compile time. I'm going to see if I'm going to see what's been committed the past couple of hours, see if Matt's fixed anything. It looks like he's still working on his plugin. So Matt's currently working on something that will allow him to paint the tiles very efficiently. But in doing so, we've also had a performance increase from it. So hopefully, when we do bring out the next build of the game, provided we've redone all the old levels with it, there should be a performance increase based on the surface tiles. More performance means more creatures. Points make prizes. Come on, compile. Just one tiny little change and it takes ages to compile it. I think it's because of the hot reload. It's because I'm compiling it whilst running the editor, which is fine. Only the first time you do it, it takes ages. And because I closed the editor and compiled a minute ago, this counts as the first time. The last 10 minutes of the stream are just going to be me waiting for this to compile, isn't it? Compile. Hey, compile. Right. That compiled. Infinite resources should work. Really, all my ants should hatch same time. Especially as I've got instant mature eggs. Oh. Well, that wasn't what I was hoping for. No ants have appeared. Apart from the hero worker. Wonder if the... Oh, no, I know what this is. The cheats have been turned off. There we go. It's alright, they've been turned off. Because, oh, no! They've been turned off because I can't save the level. I can't save the level because Matt's making changes to the level. Hopefully we'll... damn it. Am I on the right tile grid? I'm not, am I? Okay. That's alright, I'm not on the right tile grid. I think I'm starting on tile grid 1 here. Because that's what I was on this morning. Yeah. Okay. Freeplay mode should definitely be this month. The only thing I could see that would slow it down is if me, because I'm working my final month of notice at work at the minute, if that gets in the way somehow. So the instant mature eggs isn't working clearly, but the infinite resources is now. Okay, so my guess then is much similar to how infinite resources was working. The instant mature eggs is following the same pattern. So again, if we have a look in the code, instant mature eggs. Yeah, again, instant mature eggs is being taken from player data and is probably never being set. Right, so instead I need that just to be taken from the tile grid. So I just need to delete that first bit and that should work. Although in order to do that I'm going to have to check this out. But I've also then got to find any references in the code to the player data and for those two items and remove them. Right, so what do I need to check out? It's nursery representation.cpp. What are you guys playing at the minute then? Whilst you're waiting for Freeplay mode to come out? I've been playing a few games. I've been taking part in the Sea of Thieves stress tests when they've been doing them. Really like that game. I've also been playing They Are Billions. Again, They Are Billions is a cracking game. It's the game mode that they've got set up on it is really clever because it allows you to play for so long. Like you get so much gameplay out of that. nursery representation. So I've checked this out, so I can should just be able to delete that. That should be fine. Okay, so before I go anywhere, it's player types. So yeah, it's in this player data. I'm looking for all references to infinite resources, free hatch, instant mature eggs, and instant build, I think. So I'm just going to do a search. We're going to find any references to them and remove them or change them. It's okay because it's referring to the tile grid. That's fine, I'll remove those at the very end. It's fine, I'll remove that at the very end. That's just the tile grid version. Okay, so that one's fine. Instant mature eggs. Right, just having a quick read through your chats again. Playing World of Warships, Dreadnought, and Stellaris mostly. Stellaris 2.0 is a disaster. Should have a look at Stellaris, see what you're referring to. They've made some bad design decisions, have they? Alright. Okay, so again, this is setting it in the player's data, which is useless now because I've changed that. So this is EO2 game state, which I do have checked out already. So auto spawn eggs, true. So there's no such thing as free hatch. What is free hatch? I'm going to note down that I need to find out what free hatch is. Maybe it's only hatching. Yeah, maybe. I need to find and remove the references to free hatch. I think I'll just take those directly from the tile grid again. war system is just broken. All right, they have acknowledged that it's broken and they're fixing it. I need to work out what free hatch is. I'm assuming it's mentioned in nursery representation. So yeah, that's next spawn is free, temp free hatch. Okay, so it looks to me like free hatch is something that just makes hatching free, not everything free, and this will have been put in for the royal pardon abilities. So I'm going to need to change this. I may as well, basically, whilst I'm changing everything else to work from the tile grid, I may as well change this to work from the tile grid as well. Yeah, so make free hatch work from tile grid. Right, I think it's coming up to time. Yeah, it's time now. Okay, so to sum up what we've done today, so today's been a bit of a it's kind of been a bit of a funny one, as I've just been fixing issues that have been broken by changes in the back end of the game. We did get a bit done on the difficulty of Freeplay mode, but we'd since been trying to fix these cheats, which I've nearly got. I've figured out what the issue is, but I haven't quite finished fixing them yet. But either way, working on that, and that'll be ready by the next time. I'm streaming. Next time streaming, I'm not going to promise it, but I'll see if I can find an hour or two tomorrow to stream. I want to be getting my hands dirty with the less exciting bits of the code tomorrow. So, I mean, not to say that today was particularly exciting, but there's a lot of stuff on my list that I've got to do, which isn't going to be particularly thrilling. So we'll see. I'm going to be putting some work into it over the weekend as well, but definitely next Thursday. Either next Thursday or Friday, probably Thursday. I will stream more regularly once I've finished working my notice. Like I say, I'm currently working my notice at work for the rest of this month. Then after that, I'll be full time on the game. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to being able to spend more time with the game. But yeah, more time streaming as well. So at that point, you can expect more streams. But until then, I'm going to be finishing things off at work. At that side of work, tying things off. So, yeah, wait till that point. So yeah, I'll have these fixed for the next thing. Hopefully, I'll have a load of other stuff on this list ticked off as well. There's a load of stuff to do with the player spawning in different locations, which I still need to look into. But we'll get to that. Okay, so thanks for joining me for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.